This episode of the Long Run Podcast is sponsored by Skechers.
Hello and welcome to the Long Run Show live stream and podcast Eurovision special. No, not really. Don't switch off. It's only us just talking about running again like we always do on a Friday from 7 o'clock on YouTube and Facebook in association with the FORDY Runners running community and supported by our good friends at Skechers. Welcome along, everybody. Bit of a change of team. We had to make a last-minute substitution because poor old Toby's been stuck at work, or at least we think he's been stuck at work because we haven't heard from him all week. So, bless her, our admin, Sabrina Ahmed, stepped up at the last minute. What was the instructions, Chris? What did you say to her?
Oh, you've got 5 minutes to put some lippy on. And do your barnet.
Well, I brushed my hair, so you're lucky.
Oh, well, thanks ever so much for joining us, Sabrina. Yeah, so we're here again, talking running and stuff. And tonight we're going to be talking about running away from home, whether you're doing, not running away from home as in like getting away from all your things and leaving your stuff on the beach. And no, not that sort of running away from home. I mean, going away and running away from your normal sort of stuff, whether you're going to a different city or abroad or running on holiday, stuff like that. Because Al's in Copenhagen and he's doing the marathon on Sunday.
Woo! Yeah. UK Border Force let me out.
And he's got better Wi-Fi, right, here in Copenhagen than he has when he's at home. The only thing, Al, and I think I want to put this straight at the front end so we can get some questions and comments in, is that there is a toilet situation going on at your end, isn't there?
Yeah, we managed to find the Bates Motel equivalent in Copenhagen, and I just pray that it's not full of runners because it's shared bathrooms.
So when you say shared bathroom, mate, how many people are sharing your bathroom?
There's two per floor. There's 2 toilets per floor, and I think it's 12, maybe 14. So if we're all runners, we're going to have to.
Have you got bunk beds? You know, you're a bit old for youth hostelling, aren't you?
That's worse than student accommodation.
I know.
That's hardcore. That is actually should be made. We should all be congratulating now because that's hardcore. To go that hardcore for a race, right, should be commended, I think, on this show. So let us know. Send an email into something.com. Have you ever shared a bathroom while on tour?
Yeah, and if you've done a run abroad or in an unfamiliar city and you've had the hotel from hell, we'd love to hear about it.
Yes,
that's all good info from our point of view. We'd love to hear about that. So there's loads going on again.
Yeah.
So, what's happening?
Can I just ask the viewers for some help?
Yeah, of course you can.
Right. So if you're listening to this live or watching this live, or if you're listening on the pod, send an email into, what is it, Wilco?
longrunshow@gmail.com.
Because my Garmin this week, right, I'm about to lose the plot. And I can't get rid of this thing. It keeps bleeping at me. Whenever someone sends me a note, a WhatsApp or an email, it bleeps. And I've been through about 3,000 YouTube videos and I still can't turn the damn thing off. It keeps bleeping at me no matter what happens. So if you know how to get rid of it, it's done an update. And ever since the update, it's a Phoenix. This way, I'm going to ring up the contact at Garmin and just plead for help.
I think, it's because you're so popular, mate.
It's driving me up the wall. It's honestly. What?
Chloe will know how to sort it. Sky champion Chloe, she's your woman.
Okay. Anybody who can help, email in at something.com.
Long Run Show
by the time if it's still going on next week, I might have smashed it to bits. So I'd appreciate it.
It's timely that Chris has mentioned the email because we're trying to get a grip of the emails because we know people get a bit frustrated. In fact, we've got one today. And the closing remark was, God knows what conversation these questions will lead to, or in what year you'll actually read this.
So we better tell the viewers.
Yeah, we're trying to get a grip of the email so we can try and get a bit more audience participation and get people involved. by
Yes,
sending
and
your email
talking
to
about-
longrunshow@gmail.com. We'll talk
And-
about any running issue. Just send us all your questions and stuff, and we'll address them imminently.
Yes, and getting involved, we want to hear from you in the comments. Now, I don't know how to do the link thing that Toby does. So maybe if you're on Facebook, start with your name, then a little colon, and then write it. It's all right on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, then it's no problems. But because Toby's not here, I'm on production duties, which, as we all know from a couple of episodes ago, it's going to go Pete Tong. So if you could just stick your comments in with a little from who it's from, that'd be just awesome.
But then that's our unique selling point. You never know what's going to happen next.
What,
so,
chaos?
we like a bit of organised chaos.
Yes.
So
what are we talking about tonight, Wilco?
What we're talking about? Well, we're going to get on chatting about running away from home and running abroad. But first of all, we wanted to talk. It's on a serious note. It's Mental Health Awareness Week this week. I'm sure you've been aware. There's been lots of coverage in magazines, all sorts of over the media, and all sorts of things. Now, I'd like to think that we're aware of our mental health 52 weeks a year, not just for one. But obviously, it is something that running has a lot of prominence with and does help people in many situations. So I just wanted to tying in with this. We've got a lovely message from Bryony Barnard. Hi, Bryony, how you doing? Thanks ever so much for sending us feed. She said, please can you give a shout out to my partner, James Derman, tonight? See how quick we're on the button.
Yeah, big shout out.
He is absolutely obsessed with your podcasts, Judge.
Did you listen to any of them?
And a mad runner.
Another one.
I have recently been struggling with my mental health, but he has been there for me no matter what, pushing me to get out for my run and even a walk, as he knows it will make me happy, even when I don't feel like doing it. He's truly amazing, and it just goes to show that exercise can really help those who are struggling. So well done, James.
Yeah, big shout out to both
say
of
hello
you.
to you, mate. Thanks for your support, and thanks for your support you're giving Bryony as well. It's a massive deal. It's all part of what the 40 running community is all about, isn't it, Chris? Really?
Yeah, and I think Nettie mentioned it. Was it at the start of the week? Because Nettie for the club is our sort of mental health Run Talk ambassador. So within the England Athletics framework, there's the Run Talk program, and Nettie is in charge of that for us as a club, as part of what we do as a club to promote that. And she mentioned it at the start of the week, which is important. But she also mentioned that this Mental Health Awareness Week is talking about loneliness, and she touched on the fact that I started what we do with the community and everything that's spawned out of that was from a fact of not wanting to go to races and events on my own. So that tied in with that. So it is important. I'm a massive advocate of this. I don't talk about it enough. I should talk about it more. Selfishly for the boys, I said it before, I said it again. Us boys, we do, I know girls, but we do tend to keep things in a little bit. There's worrying stats in terms of male suicide, which frightens the hell out of me. And I think it's just really, really important to highlight it, to make sure that everybody is talking to each other and sharing worries, and whatever shape or form you do that in, just make sure that you are, whether you're looking out for somebody or vice versa and that kind of thing. But it was powerful on Wednesday, and it's great that we've got admin on, because Wednesday night at Broxbourne in the club was really awesome, because we got club session on Wednesday. I turned up late, shock, and I think, well, Amy, you take the story on from me what you did, because it was amazing.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were planning to go out. We were heading out from where we meet up towards a park, which is about a mile away, to do a bit of a speed lap there and then head back. And we made a point of it being that we were going to go out easy. And often people are like, well, what does easy actually mean? And everyone's easy pace is different. And when we talk about easy, we talk about conversational. So we made a point of the fact that it's Mental Health Awareness Week, and we should just use that time to make sure it is conversational and we're talking to each other and just check in with each other and ask each other how we are. Because we know what club sessions are like. We can often go straight into it, and we go into some pretty hardcore stuff, and we work hard for 45 minutes. And although we have a chat at the beginning and the end, it's really important that actually we just take the time sometimes to really talk about stuff that's important and what's on our mind, and yeah, what's just going on.
Sometimes when you're doing stuff in the club, sort of like club night environment, when sometimes it can be a bit intense. We're going through our paces a little bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes people can feel a bit lonely within that environment if they're not keeping up with other people and things like that. So it's nice to bring everybody together and have a good social run, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, we try deliberately. I think, Wilco, you know, testament to what we do. We make all our sessions for all abilities, so everybody can come and take part and feel part of the session. That's really critical to us. And I know that additional clubs where you get to, so you got to run with the B team, or you got to go and do that route because, you know, you're not fast enough and all that kind of stuff. For us, it's really important that we do and capture everybody, and it starts with the kids and goes up to the seniors. And that is I will never change. I'll never deviate from that ethos. And I just, you know, I think it's really important. You know, we'll move on, but I just think it's really important to make sure that you are looking after each other. You know, that social media is a toxic environment. We see a lot of hate, a lot of people jumping all over. But I get it. Even within our own community, people jump all over me and stuff like that. And sometimes they don't realise what I'm going through and what other people are going through. So just look after each other, you know, and think maybe before you post comments, social media, just think, what's that? You know, that person's just like me, and just check in with everybody.
So there's lots of advice that's about, you know, particularly this week, you can find out lots of videos and stuff, and from the mental health organisations, Mind, and people like that. There's loads of stuff out there. If you wanted to better your own mental health and better the way that you react and consider other people's mental health as well, there's loads of good advice out there. So this week's quite a good time to just catch up on all that, reflect, have a look, and then sort of like bear it in mind for the rest of your time. So now we've got a few announcements. Al, I forgot to announce, it was Chelmsford's first birthday this week, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was indeed. Yes, we've managed to keep going for 12 months. We had a little fun session. Just had some silly games: head, shoulders, knees, and cones. I'll teach you that one down in Broxbourne.
Oh, I like the sound of that now.
Yeah, we had rock, paper, scissors sprints. So we just mixed it up. Had a little.
You want to patent these, mate?
And then had some zero alcohol prosecco to top it all off.
What a great session that sounds like.
Some vegan brownies. So yeah, and it's what we always talk about, isn't it? It's about making it fun. You know, we can get so focused on times and splits and paces. Naturally, most of us do this because we enjoy it, and actually finding a way to bring that into the sessions was actually quite good as a coach as well. Because again, you know, tend to stress about making sure you're covering all the bases as a coach. You're mixing it up for all abilities. Are you getting outputs? Do people know what they're doing? And Tuesday night was just a little bit of fun and games. And I think everyone enjoyed it and went away just as satisfied than if we'd been doing sprint after sprint, interval after interval. So yeah, it was a good session and enjoyed it. And we go again. We've advertised and we've already got some new people hopefully joining us on Tuesday.
Oh, that's incredible.
Oh, love that.
It's continuing to spread.
Yeah, love that. Love that.
It's great. And Chris, it's the chairman's birthday. You want to shout out?
Yeah, big shout out to the chairman. I think he's a bit upside down. He's been out. He's been out all day. So we've had WhatsApp messages from him. I think I don't know. I think he's been on the brandy. So big shout out to the chairman, who does a sterling job of writing. He loves his newsletter. And so big shout out to this. And we've got to give a massive shout out because it's young Daisy's birthday tomorrow.
Whoa.
Yes.
And if she's watching, don't look down here. But
so put your pedal bin.
Yeah. It's Daisy's birthday tomorrow as well. So
hokers.
Yeah. So, a busy time, mainly for Mrs. Ford, really. She's got to wrap all this stuff. But yeah, so and obviously the chairman as well. So birthdays everywhere.
Yeah, happy birthday, Mr. Chairman. Happy birthday, Daisy, as well. Now, as we're talking about announcement, obviously, you know, events are coming thick and fast. I just wanted to say hello and good luck to all the Watford Fordies and a few others. I think Rachel Pilling's down there as well. She's doing it. So it's a race to the sea. They're off. They're currently assembling in Horsham or somewhere. I think they're having a few shandies, but they don't want to go too mad.
Yeah,
because they've got to go 50k all the way to Brighton tomorrow.
That's a good point, Wilco. We're going to be doing an ultra show. We're going to be we actually Wilco fill you in on this, but we've amazingly planned out some of the shows over the next couple of weeks. Mainly because we're really busy and we're kind of fed up with like winging it. But we want to do an ultra sort of not special, but kind of. So if you want to come on the show and talk about doing ultras and be able to offer some value, that would be amazing. So get in touch to what is it?
longrunshow@gmail.com, and we'll actually read them now because I've got them on my phone. I've got them on my phone.
Yeah, I got made redundant from the email function. I think they're all getting a bit upset because I wasn't reading any of them. So Wilco's now in charge. So if you send an email in, chances are it might get read between now and the end of the week now.
Yeah, because we've got
no
a few sort of subjects that we're looking to come up with. We're going to be three of us. We're off to Edinburgh in a couple of weeks, so we're going to be doing a couple of specials on that.
Yeah.
Before and after. And also, Sabrina's hopefully going to be involved. We're going to have an episode with some of the girls presenting that I'm sure she's very looking forward to. Hopefully, this will be an opportunity for, obviously, we've got a very significant, in fact, a majority membership of 40 Runs is female. And hopefully, you'll be able to discuss any sort of women's running issues that perhaps, you know, we might not be particularly insightful about and we might not be able to offer
email those in.
Yeah, so, but it's free reign. Obviously, you know, whatever happens, happens, and you can talk about what you like. So
you slag
we look forward to that as well. And then we've got, and we're going to look at trails, tech, all sorts of stuff. And whisper it, in 5 weeks, it's our first anniversary. So we're looking at a birthday special as well. Yeah, loads of stuff going on.
There's loads. So it's packed. So make sure you need to tell everybody. Thanks, by the way, to all the reviews. I know there was one gentleman who didn't like all our shout-outs, but we're going to carry on doing shout-outs because it's important. Like we did earlier with the person on Instagram, it's important. This watch is bleeping at me, by the way. And I think it's bleeping, right? Because people are emailing me in. I've just seen it. Thanks to everybody. They're emailing me in how to switch off the bleeping, but you're causing bleeping, people. But anyway, thanks. But yeah, no. So, but thanks, seriously, thanks to all the reviews because there's been some really nice stuff again written about us on the reviews. We do appreciate
and to be honest, you know, if you review us and you've got ideas about what we could do better, then we're quite receptive to that. If it's constructive, we don't mind that at all.
Yeah, 100%.
So, please, keep firing in your emails and your reviews and everything. That would be great. So, just before we talk about running away, I've just touched upon Edinburgh, Sabs. We've got 2 weeks. How's your tapering going?
Tapering? I mean, it started. We'll get there. But
go on then. Do you want to elaborate on that?
It feels really close, but it still feels quite far away. So I've definitely in that phase where I feel like I'm not doing enough, which is going to kick in even more over the next week, I think. But I'm listening to the advice, and we had a good chat at the end of the Broxbourne session the other day, actually, like the postie that did Brighton a few weeks ago, and he was like, listen to your body, it needs to recover now. So going to take it nice and easy, 12-mile Sunday with you.
Yeah, we're going out, aren't we?
Yeah, can't wait.
Our first proper long run.
Yeah, so yeah, but I think my body's definitely feeling tired. Let's just say that. I think it's definitely time to start taking it down a bit. So yeah. How about you?
How are you going, Chris?
Oh, mate, wow. Right, well, firstly, today I had to tell myself off because I went out. I only needed about 3.5 miles today, and I went out. And anyone who follows me on Strava, I ran the first mile, and I was like 7-minute miles. And at one point, I was like 6:30 per mile, and I was like, shouldn't really be doing this. And I had a pair of beautiful Skechers on. Big shout out Skechers. I was in the Razor XS2. Big plug. Videos coming next week. Love the shoe. Thank you very much, Skechers. But yeah, so I had to tell myself off because I was like, are you stupid? And then so I calmed down from that. But funnily enough, a complete reverse of that. This week I've been struggling with my legs. Actually, I mentioned it to you, didn't I? I mean, I've been struggling this week with some of the evening because where I'm used to double running, I don't know what it is, but I've been kind of struggling with running in the evening. I just don't feel with it. I don't feel confident with it, and yeah. But it's just like Sabrina said, it's you're on that tired stage. And you start doubting yourself, you start reading into stuff, and it's just that whole tapering nonsense that we go through, right? And
do you think you've done a little bit too much trying to catch up from when you had the little layoff at the start of the plan, or do you think that's been irrelevant?
I think I've been pretty well behaved. I've been pretty regimented in terms of goals. I mean, I did, I went up. I took myself back up, got myself back to the 50 miles, came down. Then sort of edged up again, 2 weeks, 50 miles, came back down, 40 miles, came back down. So I've kind of had a plan and I've not tried to catch it up as best I can. But I still don't know what the impact of that surgery that I had is going to have ultimately on race day and on how that feels in terms of my overall condition. I simply don't know how much of an impact that will have. But I've got, really, like always with races, I don't really care. So if I'm on it, I'm on it. If I'm in the zone and I'm cruising along and I'm on pace and everything's going according to plan, then that's great news. And if it's going, Pete Tong, then I don't really care. I'll slow down and start cocking about as I always do. So it is what it is. But yeah, I am struggling this week with tapering. We've got 18 miles on Sunday, which makes 16. Sorry, which some people may say that's quite high. But
I did look at it and I think, why is he going
to? No. But there's a reason we didn't do a 20-mile last week.
Right.
So I've done 5 20-mile runs in this block. So I don't need to really worry about hitting the sort of time on feet. I did a 4-hour run at one point. So for me, the 20-mile run is not as significant as in some people's plans psychologically and things like that. What's more important for me is to do more work at goal pace, to do more medium efforts and that kind of stuff. So we'll do 16 miles. We'll do like 10 or 11 of it at, easy pace, level 2, zone 2, sorry. So we're not really, we're having an impact, but it's not great. What the important part is to just do that last 3 or 4 miles on tired legs and go through that at goal pace, just as a sort of finishing off, as we then really drop down to 13 miles the following week. And again, that'll be at zone 2 pace. So yeah, it may seem high, but it's strategic, if that makes sense, because the week before, most people do a 20 mile. I only did 16 miles the week before. So I did 20, 16, 16, but I've been doing 16 with,
which is, of course, it's the same as the 20 and 12 that me and Sabs have done.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if you look at, for example, it's not related to it, but it's a similar ethos to what Alan does to a degree, with the restrictive long run, I don't follow it up the next day with a 10 mile. I follow it up just with a recovery run, but we work in those cycles. We've done fast half. We did a fast half marathon. We did that fast 10K. So it's trying to work it out. I don't know whether this is going to work. We'll find out on whatever it is week. What I would say is that Simon, who's been following along this sort of cycle and plan that we're doing, we've forgotten about Speako because he's just all over the place with work and lazy calves and stuff.
And that, yeah.
But his fitness and his times, he looks really strong at the moment. So
he looked great on Tuesday, didn't he?
Yeah, he's looking really strong at the moment. So it's clearly working for him. Obviously, race day, again, it'll show up at mile 20, 21, where he's actually at. But it has worked. And as I say, for me to pop out this morning, first mile under 7-minute miles and having to tell myself off, actually just tells me that some of this training has actually been working. To push out whatever it was, 42 and change 10K a couple of weeks ago, tells me that it is working. It's just my only worry. If I was to mark myself out of 10 in terms of my training, I would give myself probably about 7 because I don't think I've committed enough to the long runs. That's where I'm seeing errors, but we'll see. It's a learning curve, right? That's the thing with marathon.
Yeah, I think it's important to say as well, though, that everyone's plan is different, and this is the point where you can't worry about what other people are doing, because it's really easy to think Chris is doing 16 this week. Should I be doing 16? Or we're doing 12. Should I be doing 12? And I think everybody's at a different place, and you can't be distracted by so-and-so's doing this. Our bodies are all different. How we react to is different. So trust in your plan, trust in your training. If you've
100%.
I think that's absolutely right. That's absolutely the case. Al, obviously you're at the end of your taper. You're at the stuffing yourself with pizza and pasta stage. How's it gone for you?
What, the carb loading? Pretty good today.
Well, all of it.
I'm worried about the carb loading, and then because he's got a shared toilet.
Yeah, it's just affecting the amount of carb loading you'll be doing.
No, it hasn't. I can assure you it won't affect it at all.
But your taper has been good, is it? Are you pleased?
No, the training has been up and down. Again, I started late. I had some issues towards the end of the year around the running mojo. So started pretty late, really, compared to what I would have normally done on a marathon cycle, particularly given that I got 2 marathons within the space of 4 or 5 weeks. with hindsight, I thought Broughton went as well as it could be expected, because we were kind of 3/4 of a way through a training plan heading towards Copenhagen as one of my A races. Managed to do some great miles in Spain. So whilst I joked about warm weather training, I think I would have really benefited from that had I not come down with a chest infection. So I've kind of had a bit of an enforced taper through not being 100%. And Sunday it'll be what it will be. I can't control it anymore. I've done as many miles as I would, but perhaps not at the quality I'd have liked, to kind of know that I'm going in confident with a time in mind. But I'm running abroad. I'm running in a new city. It's a new experience, and I've got a new camera. So if nothing else, I'm going to go out and have a good day, take in the sights and the sounds, and just see where it gets me. Hopefully over the finish line, and hopefully with a reasonable time. But if that doesn't happen, I'm just going to tick it off as another new experience. And running abroad, that's part of the challenge, but part of the upside. Taking yourself out of the comfort zone and running in strange places.
What was it about Copenhagen?
Oh, sorry,
go on.
What was it about Copenhagen?
I've always wanted to come to Copenhagen, and never had a reason to.
Was it a bacon?
It wasn't bacon. It's the Danish pastries, which I haven't actually had any yet.
Yeah, but you can't have Danish pastries out. They've got butter in them.
Oh, after the event, it'll be fine. I'm sure I'll find the vegan. There's a food
after the event, it will be fine.
Yeah, there's a food festival in Tivoli Gardens.
I want to say you're just very good in training.
There is a food festival. I'm sure there will be vegan pastries in Tivoli Gardens after the race.
100%.
Absolutely. So, in answer to your question, it goes back to 2019 when I didn't get into London. I was looking for what would have then been a spring marathon. Right. For 2020, so I managed to done a few of the UK ones. So I was looking for something abroad, and this popped up. So I wouldn't say it was carefully thought out and planned. And obviously, with COVID kicking in, it certainly wasn't kind of contrived as part of a 4-race season. But it is what it is. I would have run the miles anyway. The miles get a medal.
What's the course like, and what is the medal like?
I haven't seen the medal yet, so that's going to be a nice surprise.
Ration of bacon.
The course is very flat. We've had a walk around the city today. It's hard to describe in that you do end up doing parts of the city on laps. So there's a couple of parts of the course where you're doubling back on yourself. But that actually makes it, I think, quite a good spectator sport. So sat down with Carolyn today and kind of looked at what that means in terms of support crew, and it looks like it could be a good run because there's plenty of historic sites to see. There's always the boring bit that looks like it's going to be kind of just around halfway mark. So
he's right. There's always a bit in a marathon, isn't there, of a boring bit? Let us know actually in the comments or YouTube, whatever, or email in.
Top 5 boring bits.
Yeah, there's always a boring bit in the marathon.
The first third is right in the heart of the city and running down the river. The final third is repeating much of that, but kind of with a slightly different kink. And then you've got a bit kind of out towards the west that looks a bit dull, could be a bit quiet. But as you said, it is what it is. Every race has one.
I'm just trying to think in London.
I would say used to be the Isle of Dogs, but that's lifted, isn't it? That's now Rotherhithe and places like that.
I'd probably say Mud Shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember watching some of the early marathons where there was just no one around some of the parts of the Isle of Dogs and Mud Shoot. But
you also have that bit, and you do it in the big half as well, but the other way round. After if you were doing a marathon after Cutty Sark and before you get to Tower Bridge, and sort of.
That's not too bad. That's not too
bad. That was a bit dull when I did that on the big half.
It's all dull bits. And mind you, the big half is boring. Oh,
the big half is horrible. Mud Shoot on London Marathon is awful because it's before you get to Canary Wharf. So you kind of hit halfway. You've had that high of coming over Tower Bridge, and then mile 17. That was a killer.
I used to run a lot along the Thames Path, the south of the Thames Path, on the south bank before you get to, and you go round that loop of the Isle of Dogs, and you think I've gone 3 miles, and you've just got, and Canary Wharf is just on your right all the time, and you just like, I'm just not going anywhere because this building's still there. I can just see it.
I tell you what, anybody who's listening to this or even like live, can you let us know what the boring bit, hashtag boring bit, we'll give it a hashtag. The boring bit is in the Edinburgh Marathon. Which bit should we be looking out for when we're next week or probably on the train up there, looking at the course? What is the what's the point in which we should be thinking mentally prepare ourselves for?
Yeah, get the playlist on.
Yeah, let us know. Send an email in at something.com. Marathon boring bits
at gmail.com.
Yeah, send that in or comment now live. If you've done Edinburgh, which bit should we be wary of as we go into that? But yeah, you're right, Al, isn't it? There's always a boring bit, isn't it?
It must be in the race director's handbook. Yeah. Don't forget to add the boring bit.
Yeah, we can't have these people
around about mile 17, just as it begins to hurt.
Yeah, kill them with a boring bit. There.
So, Al, as you're sort of like, this your first major race sort of abroad, yeah?
No, it's not actually.
No,
this will be my third international marathon.
Okay, which other ones have you done?
Just trying to think what year they were, because I've kind of lost track.
Frankfurt, didn't you?
Yeah, so Berlin was
I've got a place in Frankfurt I've got to take up at some juncture.
Yeah, there's boring bits in Frankfurt. Don't worry.
I look forward to it, mate.
So I did Berlin in 2018, and then I did Frankfurt in 2019. Both of those I was able to run with Thomas, my German running buddy, which kind of helped in a little bit because obviously he speaks the language. He still managed to get us lost on the Berlin metro, and we had to be escorted across town to the expo by this little old lady that took pity on us, which was quite funny.
Is he as old as you, Al?
He's actually a little bit older, so that's probably
78 doing marathons.
The explanation.
Well done.
Yeah, two old boys trying to get their way across Checkpoint Charlie.
Yeah, good job it weren't 1979 or something, mate. We'd have lost you. You'd have been
well, you can't help but sing Oliver's Army as you're kind of going around. All the tourists are kind of looking at you going, what is he on?
So you've got a little bit of experience of these foreign events.
He's our foreign correspondent.
International
athlete, as I
What sort of consider? You've touched upon the language, which is an obvious thing of any travel thing. What sort of thing do people, do you think, have to take special consideration for if they're going to do?
I think there's a number of things. Just thinking about the travel, whilst you can travel, long distances to get to the UK races, there's that element of extra anxiety. I think, when you're worrying about passports and check-in and security and all your gels So I lost my peanut butter this morning. So in Heathrow at 4:30, I absolutely was convinced I'd packed it properly. The old bag gets pulled off to one side. She pulls out a jar of peanut butter, which is apparently paste as far as international customs are concerned. So that disappeared. In the past, I've lost.
Was it vegan?
It's peanut butter.
That's vegan anyway.
Yeah, it's peanuts. So yeah, it's the silly things. That first marathon, I had a dodgy knee and I was using KT tape, and I needed glue to help with the adhesion. I lost that in customs, and going through security.
Why don't you just put this stuff in your suitcase?
Well, because I'm too tight to pay to put bags in the hold. Trying to travel cheap with a handbag, and it comes back to bite you. So there's things like that. And I think when you kind of add in running in a foreign country, particularly if English isn't the main language, I think there's an element of it saps your energy a little bit. So it's being mindful of all that extra adrenaline, all that extra noise and information that you're trying to take in, whilst prep and calm and be ready for a blooming long run. And therefore, I think you kind of just have to factor that in. Add in, you go to a new city like we've done today. We've had a little walk around, take in the sights. You end up doing your unofficial moonwalk, 26 miles 2 days before you're running 26 miles. And it's only through experience of kind of making those mistakes and going, I shouldn't have done that. Or, where am I going to find my pasta? Because everyone else is chasing the same pasta restaurant in Copenhagen. That you kind of just go, it takes things out of you. And you won't know until the day exactly how much. So, we can do the plans, we can do all the training, we can do the tapering, and then you've got those 3 or 4 days around race day where, life is throwing other things at you to consider. So it takes you out your comfort zone. It adds a little bit of pressure. And I guess it's how you handle that, really, in terms of what you can do to mitigate some of that, to give yourself the best chance of having a good race.
One way of mitigating all that was what I did when in 2019 I did the half marathon in Lanzarote, and I went on an organised tour.
Yeah.
And with a company called Running Crazy, like a small firm that I saw on Facebook, lovely people. Guy called Malcolm runs it. It's absolutely fantastic. I'd recommend it to everybody. And he just looked after everything. I just sort of like, all I had to do was get a flight to Lanzarote. He picked me up. I had the hotel. He'd organised what time I could have my breakfast. He picked up all my kit from the expo. He drove me to the start line. I literally had to do nothing.
So it kind of makes you feel like an elite athlete, because that's what Kipchoge and Samo have to deal with every time they're running. So it's nice to be in that place.
Talking of which, what's the field like? Is there some, apart from yourself, obviously, and Ben? Big shout out, Ben is running, but is there anybody who's a bit handy who's turned up?
The winning time, I think, from 2019 was the last time it was run. I think was sub 2:20. So it's not at the absolute top, but it's still a pretty decent field.
How many doing it then?
About 13,000. I think there's something like 99 countries represented.
Wow. That's quite a nice number, isn't it?
It is a Abbott qualifying race. Really? So it's up there as kind of one of the leading international races. So
you're going for a Boston time, are you?
I was going to say good for age for out then.
Yeah.
Out of interest, what is a good for age for a 78-year-old runner? Do you know?
For my age, it's 3 hours 25, I think. But I don't know if you saw the guy this week or last weekend, 71-year-old, smashed the world record at I think 2:54 or something, 2:58, wow. And he's run something like 30 consecutive sub 30s. So I've only got 15 odd years to catch up.
So Sabrina, would you fancy doing a race abroad then? Is that something that you'd want to tick off your list?
At some point. Edinburgh doesn't really count, does it? Because we're only going.
No, it doesn't count.
No, but
and you can't say it counts because you're going on an aeroplane and we're going in the train.
I am.
That said, so what I would say, actually, in her defence, is that I think when you are travelling, and it doesn't matter if you're going up, down, left, right, wherever you're going, if you're having to put some stuff in a case and do some form of travelling, like Al touched on, there is that increased anxiety. There is that increased mental capacity usage, or whatever you want to call it.
Right, you're absolutely right, Chris. I've travelled with one pair of shoes to race in. Normally, for a UK race, I'd take 4 and kind of make a decision depending on how I'm feeling. And I've got to run them in park run as well tomorrow. So I'm hoping to smash my park run PB because I've got the carbon plated shoes to whiz around the park. But you're right. It is all those decisions, those little decisions that you don't have to worry about so much when you're running, locally.
Yeah.
That just adds that kind of subconscious anxiety or pressure, which you then got to deal with on the day.
Yeah. Let's be honest. My anxiety is going to come from having to drag Toby around the airport, isn't it?
I'll be honest with you. That won't help, having to drag Speedgoat, who's like a 3-year-old on the best of days through Stansted Airport at the early hours on.
He's
Saturday
a massive odds-on favourite to be the one remaining passenger to Ryanair flight to Edinburgh.
Guaranteed. And can you imagine him I couldn't think of anything worse than sitting in an airport with Speedgoat early on a Saturday morning when you're basically just bricking it to go on a plane and all the stuff that's around it, and then he's just sitting there looking at you with his stupid face. We can say everything we want because he's not here. It doesn't matter. And it does. Oh, there you go. Increased cognitive load that Mel just said. Mentioned it.
Yeah, I think I'm suffering that definitely.
Oh, yeah. I think I make you right on that. There is. I remember what was it? I can't remember which year it was when I did Great North Run. It was one of the first times I did Great North Run. And I totally, it took me out of kilter. I got to like mile 11 and I just hadn't fueled enough the day before. And because we was traveling up and my routine was out, and I
Yeah.
hadn't yet, because it was I was inexperienced in traveling to races, let's call it, because we're so lucky that being southeast based, that a lot of it's on our doorstep, right? And don't get me wrong, I love traveling to races. One of the best things about the Great North Run is the traveling up there and doing it, and all that kind of butterflies that it brings. But I totally got it all wrong, because I was so obsessed with other things and forgot to do the basics. And you do get caught up in, oh Christ, I've got to get me train. What am I going, and all that sort of stuff. And you forget. And I think it's key message to us, listening to that when we go to Edinburgh, that we make sure we still follow the same routine as you would normally do on a race day.
Routine just
a
breeds
pre-race
confidence, doesn't it? That's
Yeah.
what we see from elite performers. That's what they do all the time.
But you
see
don't
it when Harry Kane's taking a penalty, he does exactly the same
I'm
thing.
glad you
all the
mentioned
time.
that. I'm glad you mentioned that to Al. Al, did you hear that when he said about Harry Kane, mate, taking what?
Look at the league table, still above you.
Yeah, so we won't go into that. It's
Anyway,
a running podcast.
no, but I was just saying it's an illustration of how people
Yes,
like
true.
routine and do the same things all the time.
And to be fair, I think once you get into race day, having done a couple of international races, both marathon and half marathon, there is that international language of running where, doesn't matter whether you all speak the same language, you can see everyone having the same issues, the same nerves, the same prep, as soon as you kind of get close to bag drop and race village. So or people put off the fact going, oh, it's all too much. Because once you get there, you are literally in a familiar environment with people feeling and going through the same, pre-race prep that you would do wherever you are. And there's that familiarity then that kind of, I think, kicks in and helps calm the nerves.
Yeah. No, I think
within our our new organisational structure, where we've sort of like asked people for questions and to send emails, we actually had a couple of questions on running abroad. They're a little bit not quite linked perhaps to events, but they're still pretty pertinent. I think it's
were they sent from 1987 or
no? It's okay. They've been this week. This is how we mean to go on.
Oh, he means business now. He means business, boy.
And we had one from Louise Kirkman. Hi, Louise. Thanks for getting in touch. Hi, guys. I'm going on holiday to a hot destination a month before the London Marathon. Doesn't say where it is. I'm sure you'll have a lovely time. Shall I continue my plan, alter it due to the conditions, the heat, or just do what I can and get back to it once I get home? P.S. I hate treadmills, so don't want to use a gym.
Okay. Right. I'll start this because I had this with a client of mine. Big shout out, Chris, who is he's in the same predicament. He's off to Florida, and we was talking about this when we was doing his plan. That's one of the benefits of but just doing a personalized plan with somebody, right? But we factored that in, and we basically created a down week within the plan. So we took the mileage and we adjusted the mileage accordingly. And so when he is on holiday, that the first week is effectively a down week, and then we put the runs in the following week. Bearing in mind, I think depends what holiday you're doing, but Chris's holiday is going to be on his feet a lot. So net it's not going to make too much difference. But the runs were more focused on speed and working higher, but for less time. So he was still getting a benefit out of the runs and making sure the stuff that he did do was high quality. So there's no junk. So it wasn't just running for the sake of running. He's going out with a goal of, I'm going to run for 20 minutes, but I'm absolutely going to go at 3K pace and kill myself. Oh, and then I'm off to walk around, some amusement park. But the runs that we have put in that week, that whatever he can get are going to be of a high quality. So 1 week was a down week, which was strategically done. So we've loaded him up, maybe a little bit top heavy in terms of mileage, knowing that's coming. And then the following week is more focused on speed. So he's still gaining fitness, still gaining aerobic. He's still working on that aerobic engine and building that. And then when he comes back and just pick it up. So that's my advice to you, is look at your plan and see if you can, factor in a down week and then maybe concentrate on stuff that's, for example, when I go to Mallorca, it's all hills, right? So the sensible thing to do there is to go a little bit earlier and do some hill work, do some hill repeats, get them done. Even if it's for 30 minutes, 5-minute jog out, 20 minutes hill repeats, 5-minute jog back, straight into the pool. That's the sort of thing. Or, a really decent sprint stretch out along the seafront for half hour, 5K pace, turn it around, get back. I'm done. I'm back in the pool. But at least I've done something that's made a difference to my training that week, instead of just slogging out miles for the sake of because I'm in the middle of a marathon training plan. That's how I look at it. Al, anything to add on your side?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things to add. Don't know if she said whether it was how long she was away for, but warm weather training is going to be good for you in the long run. However, it takes 7 to 10 days for your body to adjust. So you will be working harder than you'd normally, and you might not get some of the benefits of working when your body's overcompensating for excess heat or overcompensating for being slightly dehydrated. I've just come back from Mallorca. Chris did exactly that, did loads of hill work. Didn't like it at the time, but hope it pays off on Sunday, because that's going to make you a stronger runner. You've talked a little bit about adjusting the times, so you're not going out at your perhaps normal time and hitting it right at the heat of the day. And I think be adaptable. Get some benefit from running different places. The places we ran in Mallorca are not places you'd go and visit. And we saw bits of the island that we wouldn't have seen. So, get the uplift from having that experience of running different places, rather than feeling like I'm churning out a training run just for the sake of it.
You made a good point. Hydration. Last weekend, I think I mentioned it last week about my hydration. Just if you're on holiday, chances are you're going out there and you're probably on the lash, or you maybe have an extra glass of wine than you maybe normally would. And if you're in marathon training, maybe you've eased back on the amount of alcohol you're consuming, and then you go away on holiday and then you increase that. Just think about that the night before that you're potentially going to get up and run, or whatever way you do it. But just think about, because it can dehydrate you. So my point is make sure you're well hydrated before you go out. Yeah. Don't make the mistake of thinking, I'm going to take a bottle of water out on my run.
Yeah.
Because you need to start hydrated before you go out. So just be careful of that, because if you're on holiday and you're having a good time, and rightly so, you need a kickback, right? But just bear in mind the effects that alcohol can have in terms of you're better placed to talk about.
Well, I was all inclusive, so I was well hydrated.
Oh, he was well hydrated. But no, in a serious point, yeah, if it's really hot and you're not used to the heat and you're trying to do a hard session, and it's okay for a little bit maybe, but just watch your hydration. It really is important.
Yeah, I think the other thing to say is, because I went on holiday early in my plan this year, but your plan isn't going to make or break on 1 week, right? So as important as it is, and you want to get the miles in, and I felt it, and I went on a treadmill, which I hated every minute of, and I did run outside a bit. But if you do a few less miles, but do, as Chris said, more considered miles rather than junk miles, actually you'll be fine. The plan's 16 weeks for a reason. Life happens, stuff does happen. So
I think as well that you have to consider, also a big thing to consider when you're running abroad is safety issues. Obviously you've got to bear in mind that they do tend to drive on the other side of the road than they do here. You have to think about that. I was fortunate. I came back from Portugal a couple of weeks ago, and from our villa, there was virtually a cycle path that just did a whole sort of 4.5 mile, 5 mile lap around like an estate, round all the golf courses really, and that was ideal. So you've really got to try and think about where you're going to go. I mean, obviously the beach is very sensible option from a traffic perspective.
There's nothing worse than getting sand in your shoes. Oh, didn't it drive you up the wall? If you're running along like one of them pathways along the promenade, right? And you get a bit of sand in your it's nothing. It's just grinding your feet apart. It's nothing worse than that, especially if they're a crisp white pair of shoes and they're getting ruined by sand. Look at his little face. Look, he loves his watch. What shoes are you running in tomorrow? On Sunday?
My Adi.
Oh, the Adios Pro 2.
Pro 3s, whatever they're called. Yeah.
You got the 3?
Yeah.
They're not out yet, bruv. They're just
well, not out for you. He might have got some.
Yeah, no, it could be. It could be a sponsor.
The ones that served me well at Brighton and the ones that served me well at Landmark. So
are they the blue and pink ones? because I like the look of them.
Yeah.
I didn't get on with them, but they're a great looking shoe. They really are. But the 3s look amazing. They were all wearing them at that Adidas event the other week.
Oh no, I haven't got those. It's Tuesday.
They look incredible.
Cool. We've got one other sort of like running related question with regard to travel from Penny Rusbridge, friend of the show. She said, "What's the hottest place you've run?" And she'd also like to know, what's the one race you'd like to do abroad?
Who are you starting with?
I'll start with Sabrina.
New York.
You'd like to do?
Marathon, yeah. It's one of the only other marathons I'm tempted by.
Really?
Don't tell lies. She's going to do Amsterdam. She's going to do Amsterdam, 100%.
But yeah, New York. One of my favourite cities, so that'd be a great one.
Oh, you've been before?
Yeah, I've been before. And I've run Central Park and stuff, and it's one place I thought I'd quite fancy doing this. So yeah.
Sabrina's saying that I was talking to Sabrina on Tuesday, and she said, "I said, what's next then, Sabs? Where are we going next after Edinburgh? Because we were caning it around Hart, and we were just zooming around. We could have gone around all day." And she said, "Oh no, this is it, last one. I'm not doing another marathon."
I am, not now. Not yet. I can't.
Don't believe it. She'll be back in a couple of weeks saying, "Oh, I've signed up for Amsterdam." Don't believe it. Right, Al, your turn.
Well, I've got room for 4 more tattoos, which will obviously be all the majors. They're
family show and all that.
At some point. I'm not saying where, obviously, but if you know, you know. There's a possibility.
Email in at longrunSomething.com. Where's Al's tattoos?
There is a possibility that we might be going out to test the Los Angeles inaugural half marathon at the end of June. But that will only be as a precursor to doing the Big Sur Marathon next April, which runs down the Pacific Highway. So I can't remember if it starts or finishes in Carmel, but it runs all the way kind of down the coast, San Diego, and the views. Stunning. It's not easy. It's not a flat one.
No.
But it's provisionally in my diary. There's just a little bit of logistics to be sorted out.
When's that, Al? What time of year is that?
The Big Sur is April. So, again, it partly will depend on whether London comes back to April and how it all sits.
Well, I got an email the other day.
Yeah.
I don't know if I meant to tell people or not, but I got an email the other day confirming that it was coming back to April. They were telling the charities that it was. So.
Yeah, because the charity I'm running with was again feeding back about issues about when will the ballot be for April, given that they normally kind of go in October, and that's probably too late. So we'll wait and see about that one. Yeah, so somewhere over on the west coast is a strong possibility, and I'm not talking England or Ireland, obviously the States.
Yeah. What about you, Wilco?
Well, I see Jay said I think Tokyo would be a good marathon to run, and I quite fancy that. Because everyone said, all the majors, everyone says, oh, yeah, New York or all that sort of thing. I've only been to Tokyo just as a stopover when I flew to Australia, and I didn't go out and didn't have a look round. And I'd quite fancy that. So I'd go for that one.
Yeah, Tokyo's a cool city.
Yeah, that'd be cool. What about you, Chris?
Well, I think I've said it before, haven't I? Vegas, baby. Half marathon Vegas down the strip, and then just smash the life out of Caesar's Palace afterwards. That's me. That's me all day long. You can take your marathons. I've got no interest. I'd just rather rock it out in Vegas, please. That's got to be done. I'd love to do that. Just be able to run down the strip with all the lights on and stuff. I just think with the Bellagio, the things going on. I just think it'd be epic.
Yeah, they do
it at night because it's too hot.
Yeah,
it'd just be amazing. I just think it'd just be the best time ever. And then say just to hang out in Vegas because I love Vegas.
I think we had some FORDYs go out and do the rock and roll Las Vegas a few weeks ago. Paul the Swallow. I think she was out there doing. That's
the race. That's the one I want to do. Yeah, that's the one I'd love to do. I'd love to take the girls, fly the girls. We all go over as a fam, and then I'll smash the life out of that. And then we all head to Caesars and just
see the beauty is that you don't have to run marathons to run in these cities. There's a series, isn't there? I saw people were out in Lisbon, and there's like a series now that you can do.
Super hard takes you to Lisbon, Valencia, Prague, Budapest.
Copenhagen. Is it Copenhagen?
No, there is a Copenhagen. Oh, it might be actually. I can't. Yeah, it could be Copenhagen, but yeah, it takes you out across Europe, and they've just relaunched. So yeah, the Lisbon one was the first for 2022. I think they're all booked up, all the places on the discounted tickets. You can buy in effect, book all 5, and get decent prices, but they're all sold out for 22. So might be looking at that for 23.
I would like to run in Mongolia to be with all our fans.
Yeah.
Well, I had you down as sort of like trying to film on YouTube doing the North Korea marathon. I thought you'd be really good at that.
I'd do that. I've not been in North Korea. Funnily enough, I would. I reckon. Saying that, I would be interested. I should look at the stats. How big we are in North Korea. There's probably no doubt in anybody's mind that we are the biggest running podcast in South Korea. So it'd be interesting to know North Korea whether they publish that information.
Apparently, the course in North Korea is really boring.
Is it?
Yeah, because they've got the world's biggest stadium. The world's biggest stadium is in North Korea. And you start there and you finish there, but you basically just go out in the wilds and get yourself lost. And of course, there's all the communication issues that you've got, and people keeping an eye on you and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it's quite a demanding thing and a bit boring for about 24 to 26.2 miles.
We've kind of answered our own question then, haven't we, about the boring bits?
None of you fancy doing comrades. I tell you the other one. Comrades is no, but was the I've been there and it's an epic place, but it's always the Great Wall of China thing that they do. It's mental, right? But I just think I missed an opportunity when I was there about running on that. And I'd have just done like 5 meters of sprint, say I've run on it. But yeah, I think that looks pretty epic. That running, that is because it is a marathon, isn't it? Am I right that it is the Great Wall of China marathon? I might be wrong, but let us know if anyone's done that. But yeah, I
thought Petra ran
sun
there.
And beaches now. What is it?
I thought Petra had run there.
What?
Great Wall of China.
I think
no.
so. I'm sure
you make these things up. You're like a speed goat. You make stuff up.
Well, someone's got to keep ticking over.
Yeah, there's no way we did that. 100%. Would love to do the Great Wall, but rather walk it. Yeah. So I'm sure there's a Great Wall marathon or something.
But there's loads of places that you travel and you see, and you think, "Oh, I'd love to run around there."
Well, that's the benefit of park
it used to be pubs. I used to drive around and think, "Oh, I'd love to have a pint in there," and now I don't. I go to places I think, "Oh, I'd love to run around here. It'd be lovely."
It's true. Well, you say that, Wilco, but one of the things I look forward to when I do go on holiday, like Al said, is running in different places. Like classic example, you just talked about Mallorca. There was an old fault thing, like you could see it, like we was in Calador, and you could see this thing sticking out. I thought, I'm going to run at that. That's the sort of, that's the cool thing about what we do as our pastime. The ability to just lace up those rather expensive trainers that you've probably told your other half you haven't got, lace them up and go for a burn and then, I feel awesome about it when you get there. And I think that is the benefit of this pastime that we do because it takes you to, wherever you go, you can lace up and as long as it's safe, people, but you can go for a run, right? And that's what it's all about. So yeah. You know what? We're on nearly 58 minutes, guys.
Well, we better talk about what we're doing at the weekend. So you've got 16 miles. Ours in Copenhagen. Me and Sabs are out for 12 miles on Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday Boxbourne. Where are we going?
So, Al, what's the plan after Copenhagen?
Yeah.
What's the plan?
Well, I'm obviously aiming to peak for the biggest race of the season, which is the South End Half on the 12th of June. So it's all building towards that, obviously.
Naturally.
So yeah.
All the massive social as well, isn't it?
There won't be much rest because round about that time it will be time to start kicking in for a London marathon. And plus Amsterdam. So I better get out and get some new shoes, haven't I?
Yeah. I was going to say, Al, you probably need at least 3 pairs of shoes. Have you got your eye on any pairs at the moment? Out of interest.
What was this? So I've kind of bigged up Copenhagen, and I think it's going to be an epic weekend. The expo was a bit like going to your local church's Sunday fete. It was a bit disappointing.
Okay.
But I find that quite quaint. It's the sort of thing that Copenhagen should do. You shouldn't be all Vegas and lights and flashes, should it? It should be nice.
I had a pocket full of money, Ian, just burning a hole, and I've come back with most of it, apart from a couple of pairs of socks. So.
Yeah, you need to get on sportshoes.com or something.
Yeah, I'll come off. Come off this tonight. I'll get straight on sportshoes.com.
So but what shoes are you looking for? Another marathon pair.
Yeah, I'll see how the Adidas go again tomorrow. Not tomorrow, Sunday, whenever.
Sunday, yeah.
Yeah, so still waiting to see whether Brooks bring out their new. Not GTS.
59 minutes, 50 seconds. First mention.
You know the
Hyperion. They're doing another carbon plate one, aren't they?
Yeah, the Hyperion Elite. There is a new right. This is just typical Brooks, right? There is a new version of the Hyperion Elite out. Believe it or not, it's come out in this like sort of really manky green color with this new.
It's great, but I'm colourblind. Yeah,
but it's the same outsole. It's the same midsole and that, and they've just done a few things. But funnily enough, it looks like the other two versions. It's amazing, right? It's almost like they never.
And then obviously there's the New Balance Super Comp range that's going to.
That looks amazing.
So they've got some awesome designs. Look like they might be in white. So
but that's the racer. Hang on. You've got the Pacer, you've got the Super Comp, and I think it's the racer, whatever one. But there's the Super Comp's coming. That's the one with like 40 mil of stack in it.
It might be about 6'4".
Yeah, be like running high heels. And then you've got the which is the Pacer, which is out now, which is like the 5K shoot. And then you've got I think it's the race. I might be getting these names wrong, which is effectively the replacement for the RC. That's the one you're talking about. That looks incredible. That looks like, I don't know, like a Ferrari on your feet. It looks so sweet.
Sounds like it was good that I didn't get the chance to spend.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I don't know when that's coming out. There was someone saying it's towards the end of the year, but you're going to got the new Alpha Fly coming out. You've got loads of new carbon. You've got the new A6, the new Metaspeed Sky Plus.
So they come in some nice colours.
Huh?
I don't know if they're any good, but they come in some nice colours.
Yeah, well, Ben's got the green ones because he was at an A6 event, and he was smashing out times in them this week or last week.
Will we all run like Ben if we get them?
Yeah, I think if it works for Ben, it's guaranteed to. I live on Weetabix now. It's the only thing he eats, and I do whatever he does. If he goes and spends £3,000 on Saw running shorts, I'm going to spend £3,000 on Saw running shorts, despite them being not fit for like normal people, the wrong sizing, and totally overpriced. I'm still going to go and get those Saw running shorts because Ben wears them and it makes him run that fast. That's how much of an idiot I am. But anyway, finish.
We've done 62 minutes.
I know.
Incredible. Thanks ever so much for joining us, everybody. Now, next week, there's a plan, and we're going to be on the verge of going to do the marathon up in Edinburgh. So the Maranoia is going to be kicking in absolutely mad. So we'd like to talk about that. So consequently, we would love to hear your Maranoia stories. Email us at longrunshow@gmail.com and we'll pick it up. We want to hear about the nightmares that you've had, the equipment issues,
anger,
everything. All the bad thoughts and the strains that you've had going up to a marathon and how you got over them, particularly. So we can help other people and who are in the same position. So thank you very much for joining us. Send your emails in. Thanks for coming on, Sebs. See you Sunday. We'll have a lovely little trot along the river, I expect. Al, best of luck this week,
Best
mate.
of luck, brother.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
You'll be there. You're an absolute machine.
Yeah, I've got a little Union Jack on the back of my FORDY Runs T-shirt. So everyone behind me, there won't be many behind me. We'll see kind of I'm flying the flag. We might not win Eurovision. I won't be winning the Copenhagen, but I'll be doing my bit.
Good boy. Bless you, mate. That's great. So, we wish you all the best of luck for you. Chris, good luck with your 16-miler and carrying on the old training. You can, if you can't catch us at 7:00 on a Friday on Facebook or YouTube, you can always download us on your favourite podcast provider of choice. We're on Apple, smashing it up the charts, still in the top 10. I know. I don't know either.
I don't know. Yeah.
That's going really well. Amazon, Spotify, send your reviews. Tell people how lovely we are.
Yeah.
And then they can come and find out for themselves and then boost us further up the charts. And we can make it pay. This could change our lives. We don't need millions.
Unlikely. It's just as a heads up, it's unlikely. But anyway, carry on.
So we'll see you next week. Thanks ever so much for coming again. Take care. Enjoy your running. Look after each other. And we shall see you next week. So are you going to be able to do the titles? You can be all right?
Yeah.
I've just realised I've got to do it. I'm trying to find them, old type people. It could be. Hang on. It could be.
Keep waffling here,
No, it's these ones.